Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's me, your boy. I'm back. Um, this is gonna be a very simple, I want to say fun little rant that I'm gonna do. But it's not gonna be fun for me in the slightest. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna enjoy this, like talking about this and all this other fun stuff. But it might get a little heated. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on how heated this might get. So before anyone says I'm probably not super qualified to talk about this, I'm not in the slightest. I am, but like the past few years have just been very shaky for me in terms of Magic. So I'm pretty much going off of what I'm being told by my friends that still actively play the game to this day, and just based on what I've gathered from my sources. So I'm just gonna say this outright. This is why I quit Magic. Like I haven't actively played Magic in so long, and this is all just proof right here. The last time I was serious about playing Magic was what was the set before Innistrad Crimson Vow and like that whole block? The block before that was the last time I actually actively played Magic on a serious, like, not, I don't want to say serious. That's when I actively played Magic to have fun and enjoyed it, while also like going online and playing like 1v1 matches on Untap and whatnot. That was back when I cared. Now I'm just sitting here like, I play Commander with like 3 people. That's it. Like, I don't really care to play Magic anymore. And with these latest few sets, people are like sitting here telling me about the game and whatnot, and they're like, "Oh, well, this card and this card and this deck," and I'm just like, I remember back in the day where people were playing Storm and Death Shadow thinking they were cool, and I thought that was an issue. Now we're over here ranting about, oh, turn 2 kill on modern on in this, or turn 2 kill in this format, or hey, turn 1 in this format. It's just like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't. I like, again, I only exclusively play Commander at this point. I only exclusively play with like 3 friends. Like, I don't care to really play Magic anymore. And it's kind of sad because like that's what the original idea for this channel was. Out it was a Magic the Gathering channel, and I'd sit here and talk about, oh my goodness, I love Magic. Magic's so much fun. And now I'm like burned out to the point where I only play one form. I guess I kind of play Vintage still, but I also have, excuse me, I haven't played Vintage in like so long, because that's also a bit of a crapshoot right now. Granted, Vintage was always a crapshoot. I'll just be the first person to admit it because no one else will. Vintage has always been a terrible format. Well, not terrible. Terrible if you're not expecting the power level that it actually is. A lot of people perceive Vintage as this turn 1 format, and yes and no. I used to think the same thing, and then I actively played Vintage, and I've played games that have lasted as long as games of Modern could usually last, or even games of Commander could even last. So Vintage has a high power creep, yes, but it's not the insane power creep that everyone, jokes about. Oh, Vintage, you just do this. You're dead on turn 1. You didn't get a turn. That was so much fun, right? It's not always that, but I would say 55% of the time that's what you're going to get out of Vintage. But, like, just, it's gotten so bad that the power creep in just about every format just feels like that. And it feels like Wizards has just given up and just decided, you know what? Here's all of these hyper powerful, annoying cards. Have fun. What? What? Why? Okay, whatever. I can deal with that. Oh, by the way, we're also gonna like take our storytelling, like, our fascinating storytelling, and just move it this way. And now it's gone. And now our storytelling is just dead in the water. Like, granted, I won't say most people, there's a good majority of people that play Magic just because they enjoy the game, they enjoy the cards, they don't really care about the story, they don't care, that, oh, this character's dead. I understand what they're doing. They want to push their new characters that, they're coming out with. They want to push a new storyline. They want to create shock horror and be like, oh, remember all these characters you grew up with playing this game? They're all dead now. Or they're all Phyrexians now. I get what they're doing. But wow, you are upsetting so many of your players with your just blatantly lazy storytelling. That's just how it feels. The people that actually actively care about your story don't seem to really care now about the game. Like, you're taking those players and just shoving them away. That's the feeling I get. And I mean, granted, I don't play Magic so much for the story that I do, like the actual, like, I like playing the game. I like playing with Magic with friends. I like that kind of stuff. I don't really care too much for the story, which is pretty weird coming from me because I almost exclusively play games for gameplay and story, at least in terms of video games. But it feels like I'm upset about the story of Magic at this point, and I haven't been playing. Again, I haven't been playing Magic for so long, but just hearing where the story's going at this point, like, that upsets me just as much as, how lazy they're getting with the sets. And I'll be quite honest, and this is an opinion that a buddy of mine firmly believes, and I'm actually starting to honestly agree with it. Modern Masters 1 was the beginning of the end for Magic. That, like, Modern Masters 1 was when Wizards of the Coast just simply said, you know what, we give up. Like, we give up. We give up. Or Modern Masters, Modern Horizons. I don't know why I said Modern Masters. You all knew what I meant. You all know I meant Modern Horizons. I don't know why I said Modern Horizons. See, that's how long I've been out of the loop. I said the wrong thing, but Modern Horizons 1 was the beginning of the end, and then Modern Horizons 2 was just a reinforcement of we give up. And then Time Spiral Remastered was also just reinforcement of, yeah, we give up. We give up, 110%. We're running out of ideas. So here's some stuff, enjoy. And again, I get it. They're running out of ideas. They need new ideas. So they're going to push everything they got. But they're doing it in such a wrong way. Now, this video might come off as super negative. And I know I'm going to get people that are going to say, oh, you're wrong. You're just being negative. Magic isn't so bad. I see both sides. On the plus sides, at least, Magic is still alive and thriving. We're still getting new sets, new cards. Maybe this new story could be interesting, and we're just not all giving it a chance. Maybe just, things will end up being okay. Maybe these new sets aren't so bad for the game after all, because, hey, people are paying more attention to this format now. People are paying more attention to this format. Hey, remember this format that no one was paying attention to? Well, this set just pretty much made this format better. There's plus sides and, downsides to all of it. But I'm reading the room and I can see that there's a lot more downside than plus sides. And obviously there's, D&D drama with Wizards. I won't get into that. As a D&D player myself, all that stuff. I'm not a content creator for D&D, but, like, even still, like, that kind of upset me as, a lot of my favorite D&D content creators were like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna have to play different games now. This sucks. But, like, here's the middle finger, Wizards. And it's like, ouch. Like, you're trying to, it feels like Wizards is just trying to alienate everyone. And I don't know. I could be super wrong about that. Let me know how you guys feel. I feel like Wizards is just trying to alienate everybody. Maybe not intentionally trying to alienate everybody, but they're doing it and they don't realize it. I feel like they're just simply blind to it. They're just putting on, their blindfolds and like, oh no. Wait, what do you mean people are leaving our game? Wait, hold on. People don't like this card? Let's reprint it in the next set. Wait, what do you mean you didn't want us to reprint it? I thought you guys liked the card if we reprinted it and gave it new art. And the whole drama with the what was it, like the Power 9 proxies, whatever. I don't. That was dumb. That was dumb. That was just mind-blowingly dumb. Why they did that, couldn't tell you. I mean, granted, they were pretty much, from my understanding, like their chance of getting a hold of them was the same thing as getting a hold of a masterpiece, which I stand. I don't understand the whole situation too much, but I stand by this. Masterpieces were a mistake. Some people may think otherwise, but I think that one of the biggest mistakes that they've made in the past 10 years is masterpieces. In terms of like getting people into the game. Like, obviously, there's so many bigger issues than masterpieces, but I feel like if you're gonna get people into, like, new people into your game, the biggest thing that's gonna turn a lot of people off is, oh my goodness, I have to spend how much to play this format? Goodbye. Like, most people, and again, granted, a good portion of the fan base, at least the way I see it, I could be wrong, is, you know, people that play casually with their friends at the lunch table at school, or, you know, in the break room at, you know, in their 9 to 5 cubicle job or whatever, or people that invite their friends over and like, let's just have a look, you know, a Magic tournament, you know, whatever, you know. But to the people that are like, hey, this Friday Night Magic thing sounds kind of fun, I want to go, you know, or hey, my local gaming store is hosting a standard tournament. That's kind of cool. I want to get into the standard format. I have to spend how much to get a competitive deck? Oh, well, that's okay. I'll just find some sort of budget deck. And it's kind of the point where even, like, these decks that are called budget are also getting super expensive. Like, imagine being, let's say, 16. And you're like, oh, I want to pick up Magic the Gathering. And you want to go to a local gaming store and go to a tournament. And you show up with this deck that you built, this homebrew deck that you built, and you're super proud of it, and you just get steamrolled. Absolutely steamrolled by somebody that looked up their deck list on MTG Goldfish or whatever other website that they used, and they just looked their deck up, or they looked up the recent, you know, Magic the Gathering tournament results to see what was the meta deck and standard, and they just, like, built that and spent, like, $600 or whatever, and you just get steamrolled because, well, they sat there and they played, you know, the meta deck, and you were sitting there playing with your blue-green homebrew aggro that plays, like, none of the good cards, because, you know, you're not conforming to the meta. If you want to get good at this format, buddy, let me tell you, you're going to need that part-time job you're working, you know, 20 hours a week, you know, between, you know, school nights. Oh, buddy, all that money's going to be gone. And that sucks. It really sucks. And no, I'm not speaking from experience. I never really cared for Standard that much. I played Standard for like 3 months, and I hated it. I hated every minute of it. It was just annoying and just... Ugh. I even tried playing, you know, the meta deck back in the day, back when Mono Red Aggro was, like, the big thing. This was around, like, Amonkhet Standard, and I couldn't, like, I hated it. I hated myself for playing that deck, and I didn't even buy the whole deck. A lot of the cards I ended up trading for, and I own most of them still to this day, but I hated every minute of playing that deck, and I understand. I was part of the problem. You can say it. I was part of the problem. I also didn't win very many games because, well, granted, again, I didn't care for Standard that much at that point. And it showed how much I cared. I mean, again, look at the deck I was playing. But just, I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, Magic is just getting so much more expensive, which isn't necessarily Wizards' fault to an extent. I mean... the obvious counterpoint, which from a business standpoint it doesn't make sense, but the obvious counterpoint as a fan is just, why don't you reprint this card? This card is like $50, $60, $70, $80. Why can't we have a reprint of it? And obviously from a business standpoint, Wizards obviously can't technically legally acknowledge that there's a secondary market. They can't. There's just a whole legal thing. But it's like, from their standpoint, they're making money off of it with, you know, and why would they do that? Although, again, the other counter argument can be, well, you'll make more money from, you know, packs, because people are going to want to open this card. You know, going to buy the set, they're going to open the card, and then people are going to want to sell those cards, and all the other stuff. And it's a cycle. That's just the thing, though. It's a cycle. If they reprint the card, the card's cheap until the set becomes more rare, and then that card becomes expensive more again. And that's honestly that's a trading card game problem. That's not necessarily just Magic's problem. That's just trading cards, just in general. That's a big issue. And that's a big thing that I think some people need to understand, is that it's an endless cycle. Like, let's say they just suddenly decided we're going to reprint Force of Will. You know, for all you Legacy and Vintage players out there, we're going to reprint Force of Will. And then all of a sudden the price of, you know, that print of Force of Will ends up being like $50, $60. And then all of a sudden a year down the line, when, you know, they're not printing the set anymore, that card catches up to all the other printings of Force of Will and becomes $60, $70, $80, whatever. And then all of a sudden everyone's just like, oh, well, we need another reprint of Force of Will. Well, they just reprinted it. Why would they do it again? And again, that's the big thing, is that there's only so much Wizards can do. But I'm not defending them, though, in any way. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to defend them. Like, I'm just trying to say, like, there's not much that they can do. But on the flip side, there's so much they can do compared to just, let's just upset our fan base as much as we possibly can. Because that's all they've pretty much accomplished so far, for the most part, is a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are quitting. I mean, a lot of the Magic the Gathering content creators that I, you know, subscribe to on YouTube because they love playing Magic, I hardly see them playing Magic these days. Like, a lot of them have picked up, you know, playing video games and, you know, live streaming video games, or, you know, playing Pokemon, which isn't in a much better state, if I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, it's probably, I mean, granted, I've been out of the loop with Pokemon since 2019, so I don't know if that's true or not, but from what I remember, that game wasn't in the greatest state either. I've seen a lot of people going to, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh, which, I mean, I don't really care for Yu-Gi-Oh, but more power to you. But it's gotten to the point, like, it's so bad that a lot of the people that I used to follow, or still currently follow, that played Magic the Gathering, don't play it very often, if at all, anymore. And it's just, it kind of hurts seeing that, you know, because it's like, I still have a love for the game despite not playing very often. I play maybe once every other month now. And a big reason behind that is because a lot of my friends don't play very often either. And I'll be honest, I'm the biggest, like, issue. I'm the biggest part of the problem when it comes to my local metagame, because I tend to play decks with a lot higher power that aren't necessarily meta decks. So it's like, a lot of my friends don't want to play against me because I play very high powered decks. I mean, granted, like, I do play in Commander, I do play a meta deck, if you will. I play Atraxa Super Friends. I know, shoot me down, kill me, dislike this video, and tell me how much of a horrible human being I am because I play Atraxa. She's my favorite commander. Fight me. I used to play Edgar Markov, and I swore that deck off. So in my defense, I used to play Edgar Markov and Nekusar, and I swore both decks off. I just simply play Atraxa now. So, and I will die on this hill. Atraxa's fun. I wouldn't say she's fair, but she's fun. But I don't think Atraxa is the most broken commander. Again, I'm gonna get so much hate for saying that, any of that out loud. I definitely think there's worse commanders out there than Atraxa, but if you ask any of my friends, Atraxa is like the devil. Like, if you play Atraxa, you're like the worst human being in my Discord server. If anyone else was to be like, yo, I play Atraxa too, they would instantly, like, be shunned. Like, I get shunned in my own Discord server because whenever anyone talks about Commander, they'll be like, you're not allowed in this conversation. I know what your thoughts are. So it's just like, okay, whatever, guys. See how it is. Leave me out of this conversation because you guys just hate me. And again, like, I don't, like, I'm trying to build another deck that's, like, more fun and, like, friendly to, like, some people, but I save Atraxa for very few people that I know that can handle Atraxa. And so it's like, I try to play fair, like, with some friends. Like, if I play Modern or, like, whatever format, and my friends just want to play a nice, fun, casual game, and they're one of my friends that just want to play a nice, fun, casual game, I'll take, you know, one of my nice, fun, casual decks. Like, we're going to play Modern, my friend's playing Mono Green aggro, I'm playing, you know, Bant aggro. or something like that. Just something stupid and gimmicky. Just because why not? But if it's one of my friends that likes to play high-powered, maybe not so much meta deck, but like they want to play something really high-powered like Esper Control, I'm gonna fight them back, and I'm gonna play my Esper Control deck as well. We're gonna sit here, and we're gonna have effectively a stasis match in Modern. I'm speaking from experience because I've had that happen on Untap. I'll tell this story real quick, but I was in a match on Untap, just a casual thing, not like a tournament that was being run on Untap or anything. And I matched made with someone, they were playing Esper Control. Well, I was playing my Esper Narset deck, which pretty much the goal of that deck is it's just Esper Control, but instead of playing, the typical expensive, like, Teferi, blue-white cards, I do play Teferi, not Time Raveler, Hero of Dominaria. I play one copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor, one copy of that, and then I play 3 copies of Narset Transcendent. And nobody expects Narset Transcendent, like, for some reason. I mean, my friends will. Like, if I sit there and I'm like, I'm going to play my Esper deck. Like, oh, your Esper Narset deck? But, like, when I played this deck, my opponent did not expect me to slam Narset. Like, I tapped 4 mana. He expected me to play, like, something ridiculous. I think because he had a huge board state. He was expecting me to play, what's it called? The blue-white Wrath. I forgot what it's called. Someone will remind me. It's the blue-white one that says can't be countered, destroy all creatures. Someone will remind me. Supreme Verdict. That's what it is. So he was expecting me to cast that. I casted Narset, and my opponent's just, like, in chat, just posted a question mark. And then they realized their mistake, because right after I ended up casting Supreme Verdict, and they're like, okay, I see what you did there. Like, you're basically telling me I'm not allowed to do anything to cast creatures for the next 2 turns. Got it. So, people just don't expect Narset, and I think a lot of people should expect Narset, especially out of me, because she's one of my favorite cards. At least, the Planeswalker Narset Transcendent, not the Jeskai legendary creature. I'm not a big fan of that card. Shocker, I know. But I ended up casting that, and then Supreme Verdict. I ended up casting that, used the rebound effect on the card, and Supreme Verdict, and my opponent was just like, okay, look, listen. And that game ended up lasting, like, a really long time. Like, I want to say that was, like, a half-an-hour game, and I just barely won. So it was a slugfest. It was fun. But my point of this whole video is just, it's twofold. One, we all need to calm down and relax and try to enjoy Magic as best as we can. But on the flip side, if you're upset at the game, I'm not going to tell you to stop being upset at the game. I mean, I'm pretty upset at the game as it stands right now. I mean, the biggest reasons I quit. If I was to give, like, the top 3 reasons I quit, the game's just getting way too expensive, which isn't necessarily Wizards' fault to an extent. I simply just don't have people to play with anymore, which isn't Wizards' fault to an extent. But the reason why those friends don't play, and the reasons why I've stopped playing, is because the game has just gotten either way, more stupid complicated than it needs to be, with a lot other, mechanics that just don't need to be added. Like, I feel like the game just doesn't need 600 mechanics that need to be kept track of. If I wanted to keep track of 600 different mechanics, I can go play Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I have a 3.5 handbook and all my 5e stuff right here. I could just do that. And it's just, again, like, the power level of the game has just gotten so bad that a lot of my friends have just decided to quit, and so since a lot of them just quit, I don't play anymore. And I mean, at the end of the day, Magic the Gathering, I'm not gonna say it's dying or that it's gonna be, but, like, it's getting to the point where I feel like they've just stopped caring. Like, I'm not gonna say, okay, well, I'm not gonna be like everyone else and say Magic's dead, here's why, and have a thumbnail of, like, like, posing next to a Magic card that's, like, super powerful, and, like, oh, Magic's dead, like, I'm not gonna be that guy. But I think that Magic's in kind of a bad spot, at least just in my opinion. You might have a different, opinion on that. You can let me know in the comments. And I'm not saying, Magic getting super expensive is, like, the biggest issue for me. If I really wanted to, I could, like, purchase a whole deck right now. Like, if I wanted to, like, go out right now and go on, like, MTG Goldfish, let's say, and I'm like, I want to play this commander deck that's, you know, super powerful, and it's a meta deck, so I'm going to play this. If I really wanted to, I could go on there right now, grab all the cards from TCG Player, and purchase the deck and have that deck at my house by the end of the month. But why would I do that if, again, I don't have people to play with? Because they have a lot of the same complaints that a lot of other people have. That the game has just gotten lazy. The game design has just gotten lazy. A lot of people that I know just have been saying that the game design just has just gotten lazy, so they don't really bother to play the game very often. And me and my friends have tried to experiment by creating a new format, which was like Legacy Vintage Light. And it didn't really work out because we came to the conclusion that, like, because pretty much what we tried to do was we tried to make a format that was fair, that was fun, that had the fast pace of Legacy and Vintage, but had the creativity and the turn 4, turn 5 mindset of Modern. And it ended up getting to the point where we've just, based on the 5 or 6 people that we had, 4 of us played control decks. One of them played I think we had 6 people. One of them played an aggro deck, and then one of them played a combo deck, and that combo deck did not do very well. And then the aggro deck just would get swept every time. And then the 4 players that were playing control decks, one of them was me. I was a huge part of the problem. I played an Urza deck it was a blue-black, it was a Thopter Foundry, sort of the Meek Urza deck that could pretty much Emrakul you on turn 4, if not turn 5. It was a very, like, nuts deck. Like, if I had my combo out and you didn't stop me, the next turn, I swept you. I just kept on doing my thing, and then I slammed Emrakul into play and you lost. That's what the deck did. And we ended up banning Emrakul and Torn over that. So I ended up playing, you know, the Promised End, and it still ended up being the same story. I would just go through my thing, okay, and then Emrakul, and then I'm going to take your turn, I'm going to make you just wipe yourself, and then go, okay, my turn, you're dead. Now, granted, losing Aeon's Torn definitely made, you know, my deck a lot weaker. I mean, my deck was not super consistent in the slightest. I mean, it was a very gimmicky deck. It sounds very powerful. I may have won like 50% of my games. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I probably broke even with how many games I won with that deck. Like, it was good, but it was not that good. But yeah, again, just at the end of the day, I want this game to thrive. I want to, like, get back into the game. I want to continue playing the game. I want to upgrade my Atraxa deck and play Magic with my friends actively and have fun playing Magic with my friends. And go back on Untap and play Magic with my friends and have, you know, a good time. It's just not a good time anymore, because it's the same argument that anyone could make about anything. Oh, I haven't played this game in a while. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to have to learn. Why would I bother getting back into this game and relearning all of this stuff? Like, that's just kind of the motivation I have with Magic. I don't feel like having to relearn all the new rules and mechanics that I've missed from when I quit till now. So why would I bother doing that when I can just simply do something else? And I've been trying to create my own trading card game, you know, on the side. Nothing super, like, competitive. It's not meant to be super competitive. It's meant to be, like a casual kind of thing. I won't go too much into detail because, like, nothing is ready. I have a name for the game, and I have the concept, and, like, that's it. And it's a concept I've had for a long time. But beyond that, I've got nothing. So I'm not going to say much more beyond that. But I've been wanting to design my own card game to and, you know, introduce my friends to it and have fun. And I'm not saying that I could do better than Wizards at balancing a game. I mean, I've always hated that argument, you know, thinking about it now that I've matured and grown up a little bit. I tend to hate the argument more and more of, oh, I could do better at, you know, balancing this game. I could do better at, you know, making this game fun. I could have designed this set, and like, yes, you could have, but that's not what they did. And who's to say what you're gonna do could have been any better? You know, at least in terms of like card games, you know, because card games is a sketchy thing. I feel like with things like video games, like if I was to sit here and tell you about the changes I'd make to Overwatch, I feel like 7 out of 10 people would agree with all the changes I would want to make, because it's a lot easier to comprehend such a smaller scale thing like a video game compared to like such a wide thing like Magic the Gathering that's been around for what, 30 years at this point now, something like that. So it's like, I don't know. Like, someone might call me out, call me out on that and say it's not much different. I personally think it is, but I only think that because it's something so much smaller, like a set of characters versus the what, hundreds of thousands of cards that are in the game. I don't know. That's just me. That's just the way I see it. Again, someone might think that differently. Someone might say, oh, well, yeah, there's a lot of this stuff, but there's also a lot of useless stuff. But again, the same thing could be said about literally anything. But again, someone might have a different opinion on that. I firmly believe that that whole argument of, oh, I could have done better when you're talking about a trading card game. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to like all of it, and who's to say that again your idea isn't worse? You know, versus again, whereas like a video game, I feel like most people are gonna agree because there's so much less stuff to like have to worry about with a video game. Like again, let's say Overwatch, Call of Duty, things like that. I think another big thing is again with like a video game, with most video games, like again Call of Duty, Overwatch, even Rainbow Six Siege, I'll even say the meta is broken down to like 3 or 4 factors, whereas again with the trading card game like Magic, it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you also have to take into account the format and all this other stuff. Whereas in a video game, it's you literally just have to take into account this is broken because of this. This is broken because of this. You barely have to take into account map, guns, attachment. I mean, I guess attachments to an extent, but like you don't have to really take into account like it's simply just this is broken. Here's why. I don't know. Like that's just the way I see it. Again, someone could think otherwise. Another thing too is like the argument of with a video game, it's like, oh, this counters this. Yeah, well, this counters all of this. A lot of good outweighs a lot of the bad. Whereas a lot of people use the argument of, oh, this creature's really powerful. Oh, but yeah, it dies through removal. Is that the best you got? Oh, well, you can also counter it. Okay, is that the best you got? Yeah. Like, you could easily, in like, again, I'll use the Call of Duty example. You could switch off of a submachine gun and run an AR to tackle your opponent's AR. You can't in a game of Magic, you know, in the middle of the game, you don't have, you know, a counter spell on your deck or, you know, a removal spell, and then in the middle of the game, oh, yep, I suddenly have removal spell. I mean, yes, you can technically do that. There are cards that let you take cards that, you know, let you take cards from outside the game and, you know, throw them into your hand or whatever. But, like, a game of Magic, that's a waste of mana. That's a huge waste of mana just to deal with one thing when you could have just had that card in your deck in the first place, or just, you know, not play against that person. But again, that's just how I see it, at least with Magic. But again, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that the game's, you know, dead, that the game just should just shut down, there shouldn't be any more Magic. But just between the lazy storytelling and the lazy game design, and I'm calling it lazy, because that's just how it feels. It just feels like they've just given up. I don't know what else I could possibly say. Like, I don't know what else I could say. Just, if I'm proven wrong, and then sure, I'm proven wrong. But I don't see myself getting proven wrong anytime soon. Like, not Not this year. I don't see myself getting proven wrong this year. The only way I can see myself getting proven wrong this year is if Wizards of the Coast actually just outright says, all right, yeah, Magic's done. But I don't see that happening. I mean, that's like one of their biggest properties. They're not going to just go ahead and shut it down just out of nowhere. It's not happening. I mean, something drastic would have to happen, like we're all going to have to sit in our houses and do nothing again. Like, something drastic like that's going to have to happen again if the game's just suddenly going to just die. It would take something like that on a larger scale, but I beyond that, like some miracle, some Hail Mary, I don't see Magic dying, and again, I don't want it to die, but I mean, crazier things have happened, I suppose. So, I don't know. That's it. I'm done ranting. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Felt good to get a lot of that off my chest in some way. You know, like, again, I enjoy the game. I want to get back into the game, but there's so much catching up to do. And I say that about so many games. Like, a few people that I know are like, you should get back into League of Legends. And I'm like, no. I have not played the game in so long. I'm not going to sit there and try to relearn everything. I'm good. And, excuse me, that is a mindset that I tend to have with things that I just slowly but surely stop caring about. I get a bad feeling I'm slowly but surely just going to stop caring about Magic altogether. Like, I've seriously thought about just selling a lot of my cards. I thought about selling my Atraxa deck. I really did. I haven't yet. I don't think I'm going to now, but, you know, knock on wood, you know, that's a possibility. I don't know. You know, like, subscribe, all that, you know, stereotypical YouTuber stuff. Turn on that bell. And, yeah, here's to another, 25, 30, 40 years of Magic. Cheers. You cannot see my cup. There we go. Cheers. Cheers, crew. There we go. I'll see you on the next one when I don't know, I'll probably rant about something else crazy that I don't know. Have a good one, people.